Hey, this is Brett. Brett's really eager to be up here this morning. Welcome to Hopkins Community Church. It's really great to have you here. We have a wonderful joy this morning to hear from the youth groups, the middle school and the high school youth groups, about what God was doing in their lives and all that He did in the high school and middle school trips. So, yeah.
Good morning. So this is our junior high youth group. Well, some of them. There was 9 of us total that got to go to Empire, Michigan, which is by like Sleeping Bear Dunes, Traverse City area. And basically what we did is we just took the kids on a spiritual retreat. And here comes more. And they got to experience God in a new way, in a different way. We did lots of different things. A lot of it was a lot of fun activities, like we went on Sleeping Bear Dunes, we went kayaking. Oh goodness, I don't even know. But each event that we did, and each event we took the kids on, we took them aside and we said, okay, look, give them a little lesson, and we talked about identity. We talked about what it means to hear God's voice. We talked about praying through Scripture, and so they got to experience God in a different setting than here at home with just the busyness of the world and being caught up in life here. And it was a really good experience for them to just be able to break away from that, to get away from technology, get away from everything back home, and just to relax in God. So we're going to hear some of their stories and some things that just stuck out to them. So.
The thing that stuck out to me was just being there up with my friends and Brett teaching us about the Word of God.
I'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for making it possible, and thanking Brett and Cindy for putting the lesson together and all their hard work that they put into the trip.
We went kayaking and had loads of fun.
I grew up going to a camp it's more in Frankfort, but in that same area. And I was probably about the age of these guys when I went to that camp, and I just realized at that place that God was more than words in a book. And so when I go there, not that God lives there, because He's everywhere, but I have to say that my heart just, kind of peels off the layers the closer I get. One of my favorite places that we went to is Point Betsy Lighthouse. It's just unique. It's on the lake shore. It's a really rocky coast, but I kind of went off by myself there for a little bit, and the kids slowly joined me. They were kind of tossing a football around, but I kind of found my spot to go talk to God and just kind of revisiting my childhood and finding Point Betsy's the one up there with the fire in the corner, if you see it. You can have a campfire right on the beach there. And I kind of journaled a little bit, but I saw myself being this age and trying to find a Petoskey stone, trying to skip a rock. I still don't know how to skip a rock, and I never did find my own Petoskey stone, although I did have people find them for me. But just feeling that feeling of coming full circle, bringing my own youth group back to where my roots in my faith kind of began, with the Holy Spirit. It was just, there's just not words. I just loved every minute of it, and I'd do it again tomorrow.
Well, we went kayaking this one day, and this guy told us that this kayak was the worst one, and I picked it. Didn't understand why it was the worst, and hello. And even though with all the falling and all that, I saw that the view of the lake and everything was just beautiful.
My favorite place, or that most stuck out to me, was probably Point Betsy, because it was really quiet, and when we did our devotionals, it was really nice and it was peaceful.
Yeah, I think probably the funniest part of the trip was watching Peyton flip in a kayak like 7 times, and then just passing him and waving. Okay. And then I think the thing that stuck out for me was being we went to this trail, and it overlooked Lake Michigan, and it's one of the pictures up there on the bottom there, and just seeing God's beauty in everything that He created in nature and in the students, and just really being able to soak that in and enjoy that for what it truly is.
I always am the sweep when it comes to kayaking, because otherwise I would just pace nervously and wait for all the kids to get back. And as I came along with Peyton, the reason his was the worst is because it's for people who are like semi-professional, quite often kayakers, so he would flip like every 10 minutes. And I came upon him, and he had filled it up with water, and the water was just a little bit too deep, maybe up to your waist, for him to lift it up real good. So I stopped, being the good mom and youth leader that I am, to help him empty out the boat. And, I'm not as young as I used to be, or as thin, or as agile. And I helped him, and it was everything I had to lift this thing up, dump it out, and get him back in there. That little stinker went right down that river, left me there, and nobody helped me back in the hole. But, and also one of the more spiritual and enjoyable things is Brett stopped us at a point. We went down the Platte River, if you've ever been. It's a very clear, slow-moving river. And he stopped us. It kind of empties into Loon Lake and then bends down a little bit further and goes to Lake Michigan. Brett stopped us, and he wanted to do Psalms on the river, and I knew this was coming, but we didn't have a really good beach place to stop. So Brett held all the canoes, or all the kayaks in one spot, held us there and read this psalm. I have to give him, extra bonus points as a youth leader to be able to, one, focus on what he's doing and hold us all there and hold our attention. And the kids did remark that was one of the things that they liked. Okay, Mais, what you got?
It's super funny. So when we were going kayaking, this is super funny, I know. Okay. So when we went kayaking, so me and my dad were riding on the kayak, and guess what? We hit Peyton on the kayak, and then he flipped over under our kayak.
That's a good brother moment, isn't it?
Yeah, so we had a good time. Kids learned a lot, and it was just a really good experience for us. So we just want to thank you for the prayers and the support that you gave to us. So I'm going to invite the senior high to come up now. You guys can sit down. And okay, never mind. All right, so for senior high, we actually got to go with Gun Lakes Youth Group, and we went to Kansas City. I want to say there's 22 or 24, something like that total. We took 12 from our group, I believe, 10 or 12, something like that. And what we did down there, we weren't really sure what we were going to be doing when we got there, and then they told us what we were going to be doing once we got there. And we got to do a lot of different things with little kids. And it was a really cool, really fun experience. We went to a bunch of different thrift stores, helped sort clothes, helped do a bunch of things that they don't have like the help to do that kind of stuff. They don't have enough help. So we got to help them, catch back up. The kids got to sort through onions. That was fun. Yeah, the kids did. We didn't have to, but that was all right. Let's see, what else did we do? We got to join in on another youth group that was there and join one of their services, which was really cool to see. It was a really different experience. That's the picture on the bottom left there. and just to see how they run things down there with just a different culture and a different atmosphere completely. We did, I think the most impactful thing we did was the prayer walk on the last day or the second to last day. And we took the kids to a park and we broke them off into 2 groups, and we basically just taught them how to pray and how to pray for healing. And then once we did that, we took them to a mall and we actually practiced it then. So we broke the kids off into different groups. We had like 5 or 6 groups. And we let the kids go throughout the mall and just approach people and pray for them. And so that was a really cool experience. I'm not going to talk much more because I don't know if that's anybody's story or not. But yeah.
I'll actually talk about that then. I led a group along with one of the other interns from the Gun Lake Youth Group. And so that's kind of interesting just to be in a different position, trying to help some of the younger students from the Gun Lake and our group. And we actually had a couple of kids that really shined through, and they had like a really great experience. I taught my group like what was called a listening prayer. So you'd pray and you'd listen for signs. And almost every kid in the group, they got a really good sign, and we found them throughout the mall, and we went up and talked to them. And everybody just had a really cool experience, and some people really found their passion for God that day, so it's kind of cool.
One of the things we did was we went to a school and we read to the little kids, and I got this one kid, and he was really funny and sweet and stuff, and we weren't allowed to touch them or anything. Like, we couldn't tell them like how old we were or stuff like that, but I don't think anyone really listened to that. And the little kid, he was talking to me, and he just said, "I'm mad at God." And I'm like, "Why are you mad at him?" And he said he was mad because God didn't give him any superpowers. And I was like, "Well, he didn't want you to have an advantage over other people." And he's like, "Yeah, but I wanted superpowers, and he didn't give me any." So I said, "Your superpower is your goofiness." And he's like, "But that's boring. I don't want to be normal like everyone else." And I was like, "But you're not. You're so much more." And he's like, "You know what, Lindsay? Your superpower is your kindness because you're so awesome and stuff." And it was just really fun to see the smiles on my faces and what we were offering them.
So I wasn't sure about this trip, going on down to Kansas City and whatnot. But, the minute we left, you felt it. You felt Jesus with these kids. We had issues like any other normal youth group trip has with vehicles. Gun Lake's bus broke down, couldn't take the bus. So they ended up renting a van and another vehicle, and then we took our van. So we're on the road getting down there, and our air conditioning doesn't work very well. And of course, in a van with 12 other people, it gets kind of warm and different kinds of smells and all that kind of stuff. But we split up the kids into different vehicles so that they could mingle with each other, because you are taking 2 different groups. You have 2 different dynamics going on. And we didn't see Aaron very much in our van after that. No, he liked the air conditioning. So, no, I think that it was an awesome trip when we got there. We took the kids to a place called IHOP, not Pancakes. It was International House of Prayer, and the kids experienced a whole different kind of worship in just listening to music that wasn't scripted, wasn't written out. It came from the heart. It came from God. They learned different kinds of ways there to worship, and Aaron's shirt is actually from the International House of Prayer. And then when we left there, we got to our church that we were going to be staying at, and this church was pretty cool. We played a game called, what was that game? I don't know. We played lots of games. They turned all the lights out. Okay, yeah. And this church is 3 floors. You have the basement, then you have your middle, then you have your top. We were all on the top floor, and there are stairs. And I count stairs. I don't know, it's a weird thing I do. There's 32 stairs from bottom to top. Sorry, just a weird thing. And so we got our exercise in that church, and with 1 shower for guys and 1 shower for girls, we had to learn how to share that too. What else did we do? There's so much that we did. Oh yes, Freedom Fire. We went to a church or a school that housed Freedom Fire. I don't know if it was a church or school. They had 2 different sites, and it's in a housing development down there where individuals live, and they call the kids with a big megaphone. They go around the block calling the kids in that they're having Freedom Fire. And the kids played football with them, they played soccer, and then they had a Bible lesson, and they ate pizza. And they played hopscotch, they played jump rope. You know, it's just a time where the kids can learn about Jesus. Yeah, it was a great trip. Would I do it again? Absolutely. We had a fantastic leader in Amanda. She's with Urban Plunge down in Kansas City, and she did a phenomenal job putting the sites together. We would usually split the groups up because we had two groups come together, you know, and so we split up into two different groups and took one to one church and one to another church with the kids to work with inner city kids. And it gave them a different perspective on their learning and their challenges in life.
Yeah, so we had a good time. It was like almost a month ago that happened. So thinking back is like just bringing up different memories and stuff. And I think the one thing that just stood out to me was we took these two youth groups that didn't really know each other. They had met a couple times before and did things together, but they were really shy with each other. They didn't really want to interact that well in the beginning. And by the end of the trip, they want to be in each other's vans. They want to hang out with each other, and they're having a good time. They got to know each other. They got to experience a different youth group. Yeah, and it was cool to see the kids bond like that, and just to see that, just because we're different churches doesn't mean we're all under the same one. So I think that was really cool. But yeah, so thank you for your support and your prayers for that trip as well. Yeah.
Mayan. Brett, if there were other people that might be interested in being a part of this.
Yes, that's right. If you would like to be a part of these amazing trips that we get to go on, we are always looking for more leaders, junior high, senior high. If you're interested you don't even have to help out with youth group necessarily, but if you just want to be a chaperone on a mission trip or help out in any way you can, behind the scenes, however you feel, just let me know. I'll be here after church. My email and phone number is in the bulletin. Give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text, I don't care. So yeah, thank you.